Hola mi gente, MsMalcolmHughes back with another book review, and today we are going to be discussing Once Ghosted, Twice Shy by Alyssa Cole. Once Ghosted, Twice Shy is easily the cutest story I've read in a really long time. But before I get into why I loved it, let's talk about what the book is even about. So Once Ghosted, Twice Shy is a novella, so it's short. We'll talk about that later. So it's a novella that talks about these two women who found themselves in a fleeting romance. They both entered into the romance knowing that it was only for a limited time. Lakotsi, one of our main characters, is from another country and is here temporarily helping her prince, who she works for, get set up in America. And Fab, who is our other character, our other main character, she lives in New York where they currently are. So from the very beginning, they met each other on a dating app, and the understanding is, hey, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Are you down with that or no? And as they say, it's all fun and games until feelings get involved. And that's exactly what happens here. There's an immediate, deeper connection, and the two end up falling a little bit in love, which is what they've coined it. There's a scene where that comes from. I won't give you too many details, but it's cute. So as the story progresses, obviously there has to be a challenge, even though it all seems so simple. You both like each other, distance isn't a factor, so why not be together? But the fates would not have it that way. Fab is like, actually, you know what? You're leaving. It was fun. Let's stop before it's not. And Lakotsi is heartbroken. Lakotsi is dapper. Coins herself Dapper Queen, super suave, super cute, has an air of royalty that she carries herself with. So for me, it was really easy to imagine this woman. We've all seen someone or dated someone or been enticed by someone that is super comfortable and confident within themselves, that it's like, right? So it's an attraction, it's alluring, it draws you in. And Lakotsi, her profile jumped off that way, but in person, it's no substitute for the charisma that you get when you actually meet her. Fab is more of the free spirit, artsy type, is a creative innately, and carries herself that way. Really distinct style of fashion. When you see her, you're gonna look, whether it's, even if it's just to admire, like, oh, I like the way she put that together. So when these people meet each other, again, instant connection. However, Fab is like, let's stop. And Lakotsi is heartbroken by that, because Lakotsi isn't like a player. It's super forthcoming and honest, but is used to getting women, having them, and then going on her way. And that's not in a malicious way. It's just where she's at. It's the nature of her work. She's not in one place for very long. She has a very demanding job, and she takes it very seriously. But when Fab is like, can't do this, it guts her, and it's different, and it's a different type of pain, because even though this was short and fleeting, she felt that instant connection, and she felt like it was mutual. And every time they would hang out, even though they knew the time was limited, it would be one more time, one more time, one more time, even though they knew eventually that one more time would be the last time. So when the story first began, we're dropped into Lakotsi kind of trying to move forward from that, from the understanding that I was with someone, I was getting to know someone, I really liked her, we're not anymore, this hurts. And this is 7 months later, but that pain is still there. She's finally at the point where she's gonna move forward, and lo and behold, the universe brings them back together. And then we get to explore that with them. What does that mean now? Fab actually gets to tell her story as far as why she left, and we get to journey with them through a day. It's a day in a city of exploration, of walking on thin ice and literally skating on ice at one point, of tiptoeing around what needs to be said and feelings that need to be understood. So eventually all of this is unpacked, and then we get somewhat of a happy ending, but the story is left in a place where you can imagine the future is laid out bare for you, even though we don't get to see it fully come to fruition. There is nothing telling us that what is desired by the parties won't come to be. So that's the premise of the book. Let's talk about what's good about it. So Cole has done a really good job of creating characters that you can visualize, that you're immediately drawn to, that you understand the dilemmas that they're having. You can relate to them on a very human level. So that's a plus. Also, the writing is smooth, realistic, really conversational, right? You feel as if you're there with them, you're truly experiencing it, and nothing is challenging for you to conceptualize. You actually fully grasp everything that's happening. And that is not necessarily easy to do because she jumps in each chapter from the past to the present, from the past to the present, but it's seamless and smooth. Another perk is that the actual storyline. You have a full understanding of everything that's happening. You have a full understanding of who these characters are. Even though you don't have their complete background and you want more, you do understand who they are, why they are, and where they are in this moment in time in their lives. And the final perk is that it's a relatable story. It's a story as old as time. Person meets person, doesn't necessarily pan out. You come back together, let's see if it makes sense to move forward. How do we process this? So in that sense, I say quality story, good read. I really enjoyed it. It's a quick read. Again, it's a novella, so it's really short. Now let's talk about the cons. The first con for me is that it's a novella, so it's really short. I wanted more. I definitely ended this, like when it ended, I was actually surprised. Probably because I'm reading it on my iPad. So I'm reading it on the Kindle app and it tells you how much percentage left you have in the book. So I'm at like 84%. So I'm like, oh, I still have more of this book to go. So I'm excited. And then I turn, it's an intro to another book. So I was so upset. So with that being said, I was surprised. Like, oh, this is the ending. This is it. And with that, I didn't hate the ending. Again, super cute. You have an idea of where the future will lead, but I wanted to see it come to be. I did. I really, really wanted that. So in that, I needed the book to have more. And I know that not everything can fit in a novella, but I wanted more, which is also good for the author, right? They've created a story that left me with desire. Another con is that the pacing, because it is so short, sometimes the pacing never feels off, but sometimes you want more contextual knowledge. So it's not necessarily the pacing, it's the context. Sometimes you want more of a background, right? Sometimes you want additional details. Sometimes you want the author to slow it down just a little bit, though I think she does a good job with pacing. You get enough details, just sometimes I wanted more, especially about Lakotsi and the homeland she comes from and this kingdom and the prince. I wanted those details and you can't necessarily fit that into a novella, so I get that, but I wanted it. Another flaw, and this may be a stylistic preference on my end, but sometimes the editing, I would have edited certain parts differently so that they would have read smoother. And one part in particular is the opening scene on the metro, the conversation between the conductor and the riders on the train. I would have just phrased that differently because initially you're like, wait, what's happening? What's going on? So just the editing, and it happens in like another place or another two places as well, but overall I think it's good. So those are actually the only flaws I have for this book: length, context, and at certain points the editing. So with all that being said, I would rate this book a very, very solid B+. I needed more. There's just I couldn't give it an A because I needed more. Even though it does succeed at what's being provided, there are just certain context clues that I personally, as a reader, would have liked to have known. More background knowledge, more details about Fab's aunt and the challenges that she endures. Also, what has been happening with Fab? Even though we get that information, how has this really been impacting her? How has her life changed over these last 7 months? And I also would have wanted to know more about Lakotsi, definitely her background, because it is a character that I think could have been very Midnight-esque. You know how in the Sister Soldier, The Coldest Winter Ever, everyone wanted to know more about Midnight, or in Fly Girl, everyone wanted to know more about Victor, because it is a very strong, solid, stoic character that I think definitely could have flourished more, which is more contextual information provided. Overall, B plus, would recommend again and again. So I definitely think it's worth reading. Also, I don't think that we have enough queer works in our canon, so I definitely love that this is an addition. I love that it's well written. I love that I can tell the author did this with care. Oh, also another small flaw, sex scenes, good sex scenes, wanted more of them. Again, just wanted more. I needed more here. So yeah, I would say recommend the book. Abso-freaking-lutely. So here's an idea I have for March that I keep saying that I would discuss and share. So this is what I'm thinking. Let me know how you guys feel about it. So for Life After Death on March 2nd, when it comes out, I'm actually thinking about having a read along here on YouTube Live, where I would read a small portion of the book and discuss it in real time in preparation for reading the whole book and doing the full review. Let me know what y'all think about that. Let me know if you would join. I think it seems like a dope idea, but I want to know if y'all would actually be interested in watching something like that. So yeah, that's it for me, y'all. As always, I am MsMalcolmHughes, one who believes that books are sometimes better than people. And until next time, continue to be safe and be kind to each other. Also, for those of you inquiring, I do still have buttons, my Ms. Malcolm Hughes pins, and the details on how to get those are below.